Good afternoon, Namita ma'am. Am I audible? Hello.
Yeah, you are audible to us. Good afternoon, Namita.
Good afternoon, everyone.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon, sir.
Ma'am, 61 participants. Shall we start?
We can just wait for 1 minute because I think there are a total of 89, if I'm correct. We have, I can see Tilotma ma'am is already here.
Yes,
And
ma'am.
Tilotma ma'am, you can check if all your teachers have joined. And from
Yeah, ma'am.
Simple, yeah,
I will check.
okay. So once we just wait for a minute before we begin.
Okay, ma'am.
The- So that maximum of the participants would have joined, and then we can start.
Okay, ma'am.
We also have Vipin ma'am here. Sharma madam has joined as from Singhbhum Sahodaya, patron and observer for the session.
Very good afternoon, Vipin ma'am.
Thanks, Namita. Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you
Good,
very much.
good afternoon.
Good afternoon, ma'am.
Good afternoon.
So now almost 70.
Yeah, almost all the teachers of our school have joined, ma'am. So only two are left. They are joining. They are trying to connect with their system.
Okay, so I think
So
by the time we start with the introductions, maybe
yes, yes, ma'am.
we can proceed.
Yes, yes, ma'am. Uh, a very good afternoon to one and all present in today's in-house session, which is organized by Singhbhum Sahodaya. Myself, K. Nagaraju, Principal of Madhusudan Public School, extend my warm welcome to our resource person, Mrs. Namita Agarwal, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am.
Thank you.
I would also like to welcome the patron of Sahodaya Singhbhum, Mrs. Vipin Sharma, ma'am. Welcome, ma'am, to our session. And apart from our school, two more schools are there in today's session. One is SSVM Ghatsila, and another is St. Mary's Academy, Nalanda. So I extend my warm welcome to the principal of both those schools. And lastly, I welcome all the participants of all the three schools who are there in today's session. The topic for today's session, you all are aware, it is the decision making skills in adolescents. And the resource person for this today's session is none other than our Namita ma'am. Before starting the session, I would like to give a small intro about Namita ma'am. Though we all are well aware of ma'am, but it is the protocol, you can say, that we have to introduce our resource person. So let me introduce her. Namita Agarwal ma'am, she is the principal of Jamshedpur Public School, one of the oldest CBSE school in Jamshedpur. Ma'am has done her masters in political science from Delhi University and B.Ed from Annamala University and a diploma in training and development from ISTD, that is Indian Society for Training and Development, Delhi. Ma'am has 24 years of teaching experience in the field of education. Means we are here with one of the most experienced intellectual in our today's session. As far as some important positions of CBSE is concerned, ma'am has been appointed by CBSE as the DTC, District Training Coordinator for CBSE school in East Singhbum. And ma'am has been training not only the teachers but also the principals. As a resource person for CBSE COE, that is Center of Excellence, ma'am has conducted over 100 training including online as well as offline workshops. Recently, I have also completed my 5 days of principal workshop under ma'am only. Ma'am was there in almost all the 5 days taking one session, either it is in the morning or in the afternoon session. Ma'am is also the founder member of the Singhbum Sahodaya and she is the secretary of Singhbum Sahodaya. And we are very much honored that we are the part of this Singhbum Sahodaya. And I will convey my thanks to ma'am for letting us to be a part of Singhbum Sahodaya. Ma'am has been a lead assessor for TSEEM, that is Tata Steel Education Excellence Model, and has assessed approximately 15 schools. And ma'am has been appointed as mentor for 4 CBSE schools in and around Jamshedpur, and the ma'am has been the city coordinator for EA, that is Evolution of Evidence of Assessment, for about 22 schools in Jharkhand. So it is really an honor and privilege for all of us that we are having a session under Namita ma'am, who is so much experienced in this field especially. She has been, as far as I can say, the most active resource person which COE Patna has. Thank you ma'am for being with us for today's session, and over to ma'am for the session.
So thank you, Nagaraju sir, and I would like to welcome all the principals, all the teachers on this platform. Sharma ma'am, who has been a mentor and a source of inspiration for me. Welcome to you also, Sharma ma'am. So today's topic is decision-making skills in adolescence. Now, before I begin, I would just ask whether you have started your recording or not, because you will be requiring the recording of the session.
Yes, ma'am. I have informed my RT department team that
Right.
they will be recording the session, which will be needed for the COE
Definitely,
Patna.
definitely.
Yeah.
Thank you, Namita ma'am. Before we begin the session, I would like to tell all the participants that Namita madam has been, awarded, I can say definitely, the most prestigious appreciation from COE Tarun sir. He has well recognized, madam, that
Yep.
really,
Yes.
elevates our position as well. Thank you, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you
Yes,
all.
ma'am.
Thank you so much. So it's all, I think it's teamwork when we talk about East Singhbum and West Singhbum here. It's all teamwork. When we all work as a team, we are together, definitely we will receive appreciation from everywhere. And I would want that everyone should grow together. There are
Yes,
so
yes.
many things which teachers can do. You need, when we're talking of decision making skills, isn't it? This is something which even teachers have to understand. It is for you to grab the opportunities to move ahead, isn't it? Wherever you are
Yeah.
working in an institution, you have to yourself get interested in things. Don't wait for opportunities to come to you. You have to see, what can I do for my school? The moment you start doing things for your school, things will start happening for you. So with this, I would
Yes.
like to begin today's session, that is decision making skills in adolescence. Let me just share my screen. Just please give me a moment. I will share the screen with you and then we can begin. Just 1 minute. Please tell me whether it's visible to you. Is the
Yes, ma'am.
presentation visible?
Yes, ma'am.
Right. So, what is the objective of today's program? Because before we start, we should know what exactly do we want to achieve from this training session. It's not that okay, CBSE has told us कि in-house training करना है, so let us just do this 1 hour. That's not the idea. The idea is to learn something and to share something. Maybe you all also will have some ideas to share over here. So we want to enhance the decision-making skills in participants, that is the teachers present here, so that they are able to later on help their students to become good decision makers. So enable participants to be able to guide their adolescent students so that they may develop good decision making skills at an early age. Now, I also would like to point out here that it's not that suddenly a person will become a good decision maker. It has to be there right from the beginning. So, if possible, we should start from the nursery classes, start training the children, the small little ones, how to take small decisions in life. A request to all participants to keep themselves on mute. Everybody can just check their mic. If you have left your mic on by mistake, please put it on mute. Thank you. So this is something which is developed. Nobody is born with decision making skills. कोई भी बच्चा पैदा होता है तो उसको decision लेना नहीं आता definitely. But depending on their situations, depending on their environment, depending on the opportunities that they start developing this particular skill of decision making. So if you are going to just take all the decisions for your children, you are not going to ask them their opinion. You are just going to continuously make decisions for them and tell them तुमको ये करना है, तुमको ये बनना है, तुमको ये यहाँ जाना है, तुमको ये पहनना है. You know, all the time as parents, as teachers, we are just dictating that you have to do this, you have to do that. So instead of this statement that this is what you have to do, why not start changing our statement that would you like to do this? Should we do this? Do you think we should do this? You know, these are the questions that we should start asking children right from the formative years. And that is the way in which we will be able to help them to become good decision makers as they grow up. So anyway, right now we're talking about the adolescents. So this is a good poster which we all have seen through so many training sessions. But this is something which we need to remind ourselves always, that the primary aim of education is not just to enable students to do well in school. It's not about marks, it's not about grades only, but to help them to do well in lives that they lead outside school. And we as educators should guide them to discover their own potential. We know that every child has got some or the other potential. It's not that one child is not good in studies, so he is just a failure. No, definitely not. In fact, I would say that the most of the average students, they are able to do very well in life later on, because they are tapping their other potentials. They are good in sports, they may be good in singing, dancing, some other skill. You know, so they are able to do very well in life. So this is what we should understand and remember, that we should help our students to be able to become good citizens, to be able to develop their own potentials, to find out what is their talent within them and help them to grow as individuals. This is the primary aim of education. Now, as the students, as children grow up, as they become adolescents, they grow, they mature cognitively. That is, their cognitive thinking skills become better and better. Their mental process becomes more analytical. They start thinking, they start questioning. As a child, maybe a 5-year-old or 6, they will not ask so many questions. They will not doubt their parents. They will not doubt their teachers. But as they grow up, they will start asking, why should I do this? Why not that? Why should I not do it? You know, so that is the analytic. It's not that they are rebellious, but it's that they are growing up and their mental abilities, mental faculties are changing. And so they start thinking cognitively. They are also now capable of abstract thinking, better articulation, and of developing an independent thought process. Now, this is the time when the teachers, when they are faced with these students, maybe in standard 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, what happens is you start thinking that the children have become naughty, they've become indisciplined, but that is really not the case. Most of the time it is that the children have now started thinking on their own. They started questioning you, they started even sometimes doubting. So if you are able to help them at this stage to understand, allow them to take certain decisions, allow them to ask the right questions, allow them to grow and speak up their mind, then you will not feel that conflict. You will not feel that yes, the children are becoming rebellious or naughty. So give them that space. This is the time when we have to think, okay, now they are grown ups, they are growing, becoming adolescents, and we have to think of them as young adults, not as little babies and children. That all the time we are telling them, don't do this, don't do that, be quiet. And the worst thing I would say for a child is to tell them to be quiet, isn't it? We can say, okay, let us have silence for some time, let us do our work silently for some time, and then we will discuss. So this silencing the child, asking them to be quiet all the time in the class, this is something which is very very harmful for students, because if they start thinking that a disciplined child is one who doesn't speak, so do you think that they will ever be able to grow up to speak to think individually as grown-ups? They won't, because they think the right behavior is to be quiet, the right behavior is to not speak up your mind, the right behavior is to just listen and obey. So it's not all about obedience, isn't it? It's about thinking logically and doing the right thing. So if they want a discussion in the class, I think this should happen. There should be space for a certain amount of discussion in the class. Allow the children to ask questions. Even sometimes you may feel that yes, this question is a very silly question, but doesn't matter. Maybe that silly question will bring up a very intelligent discussion, and it will be a healthy discussion which will happen in the classroom. So you can see here, these are the years of experimentation and risk taking, of giving into negative peer pressure, of taking uninformed decisions on crucial issues. Now this word here, you can see uninformed decisions, because sometimes they are misinformed, sometimes they are lacking in the right kind amount of information, so they take wrong decisions. Sometimes it is peer pressure, all their friends are doing something, so they think they need to do it. On social media, what will people think about me if I do this? So these are the things that are barriers to their taking the right decision. And adolescence is thus a turning point in one's life, a period of increased potential, and at the same time one of great vulnerability. And as teachers, we need to understand this, that at this point of time, when children are just growing into young adults, they are moving out of that babyhood, childhood, and coming into adolescent years. This is not the time to silence them, this is not the time to quieten them, and it's not the time to suppress them. Rather, it is the time for the teachers to allow for healthy discussions in the classroom. Whether it is related to subjects, sometimes it is not even related to subjects, because it's not only the duty of the teacher to teach the subject in the class, but to help the students to develop their life skills. And definitely we cannot have a separate teacher for life skills कि ये teacher जो है वो class में आएंगी और life skills पढ़ाएंगी. No, it cannot happen like that. And neither would I say that there is need for a moral science teacher. Every teacher who enters the class should be a moral science teacher, should be a teacher who teaches life skills to her children or his students. So this is something which every teacher should be able to first develop within themselves. If you are able to develop good life skills, enhance your own life skills, then only you will be able to help the students to do that. And as you know that even in the National Education Policy 2020, there is a lot of focus on life skills, on how to enhance life skills in the students. Even so much so that the government has decided, the Education Ministry has decided to make the B.Ed program into a 4-year integrated program, where there will be a lot of focus on teaching of life skills, on how to enhance life skills, and also how to make every teacher into a special educator. We don't need a special educator then in schools, so that every teacher who is, whether the teacher is teaching physics or maths or Hindi or English or chemistry, social studies, every teacher should be a social life skills teacher or a moral science teacher, along with the skills of the subject which they are skilled at teaching. And I think rather than coming to the adolescence age and then allowing the children to take decisions, it should start from the beginning. So even if it is a very junior class, if it is nursery or KG, little very very simple decisions should be allowed to the students. allow them to decide, okay, today shall I take up this activity, or should we play this game, or should we play that game? What would you like? Would you like to sit on this chair or the other? So let them, these are very tiny decisions which will not make a major difference to the policies, but it will make them into individuals who can think and who can logically give take a decision. So if we are allowing them at that stage to take certain small decisions, definitely they are going to gradually start developing the skill of decision making. Even at home with our children, you can say, rather than the parents telling them all the time, you have to wear this, you have to do this, you have to eat this. So this is, we need to stop doing that, and we need to start telling them, okay, do you think it's right to do this? Do you think it's right to wear this? Do you think you should be wearing this, or you should be? So whatever it is, whether it is talking about clothes or food or going somewhere, let them also be part of the decision making process. Don't decide things for them and tell them कि अब तुमको ये करना है, isn't it? So they also should be a part of that discussion when you are deciding what is to be done. Now let's look at this risk-taking behavior, which is very typical of adolescents. It's not that they want to be rebellious all the time, but it is the chemical changes which are happening within their body. If we have bio teachers over here, very much they would be understanding this, that a lot of changes are happening within the adolescent child, and that is why they are sometimes very rebellious, sometimes they are having mood swings, sometimes they just want to do something which is not done, something which is taking a great risk, and only why? Because they peer the peer pressure, because they think that on social media people will accept me only if I do this. These are the thoughts that come to their mind. So they are motivated to seek out new, exciting, or emotionally charged stimuli. So they want to do something different, something new, something that will attract others towards them. These are the thoughts that come to their mind. And they may believe in the positives of a risk. Sometimes they think, okay, if I do this, doesn't matter, थोड़ा सा risky है, but social media में हम बहुत popular हो जाएंगे. These are the thoughts that come to their mind. And sometimes even the negative health issues, they overlook it, because they think that if I do this negative thing, it's going to be good for my image. It's very, very important for them. That image building is very important. So these are some things that we have to understand, take it in our stride ki they are going to be like this. So what can we do to help them? So we know the reasons: adolescents, strong social priorities. Why do they take this kind of risk behavior? They lack the ability to perceive long-term consequences. They don't want to, in fact, understand ki what is going to happen. As adults, we feel, अरे हम ऐसा करेंगे तो what will people think about me? What will happen to my family? What will happen to my, for everything we start thinking a lot. But adolescents, they are not the ones to do that. They will not think for such a long time. They'll just do what they feel is right at that moment, at that particular moment. Especially if their friends are doing something and they think it's the right thing to do, let me do it. Maybe later on they regret, but at the spur of the moment, they have taken a decision and they have done something really risky or something wrong. So even when the consequences are known, sometimes what happens is egocentrism. Centrism can make adolescents feel very, very invincible to negative outcomes. They don't want to understand कि हाँ ये करने से क्या negative हो सकता है, but they just want to do it because it will satisfy their ego or it will make them feel good. So this is heightened by higher sensitivity to rewards and lessened sensitivity to the adverse effects. So what are the rewards they are thinking about? It is the immediate appreciation of their peers, their maybe the popularity in their social networking, social sites where they are, present in. So they are more concerned about what people think about them or their own egos rather than what is the right thing to be done, what weighing the pros and cons, thinking about what is right and wrong. So they have to be guided and trained in this, and continuous guidance and training about this. First, to show them that okay, they need to understand कि as adolescents there are certain changes happening within you. This is something which they really need to understand, because sometimes they are confused कि मैं ऐसा क्यों कर रहा हूँ. They themselves don't understand. So even before they enter adolescence, they should be guided towards this. That as children grow up, these are the things that happen. So they are prepared for it in a way. Now, when we are taking decisions, there are different kinds of decisions. every decision is not a very important one. Some decisions may be unimportant but very urgent, isn't it? Some decisions may be small decisions, some are very important decisions, some are maybe life decisions. So we have to think about what are those decisions that we need to take immediately, what are those decisions that we need to think about. It's not everything that we can just decide immediately. कि नहीं हाँ या ना, do you say yes or no? We have to take time. Sometimes if it is a long term thing, we have to think. We just cannot take a decision at the spur of the moment. If it is you are going to buy a house for your future, you have to give a thought to it. You can't just immediately take a decision कि हाँ हम तो यही घर खरीदेंगे. You have to think, weigh the pros and cons. You have to think excuse me, you have to think about your family, your children, so many things. What is the workplace, etc., before you take a decision about buying a house. But if it is just taking a decision about which movie to see, or what dress I should wear, or what should I cook today, these are very small trivial decisions, but sometimes they have to be taken urgently, because you can't decide for 1 hour or half an hour and then go to school, decide I'm going to wear this dress or not, and take a half an hour decision. No, it is an immediate decision, but it's not an important decision. So some decisions are urgent and they are not important, but some are important but not so urgent. You can take your time. So we need to see that so many, every day, throughout the day, from the morning till the evening, we are taking decisions even without knowing about it, that we are taking this decision. We are just, our mind is trained, it is tuned to take decisions all the time. And sometimes we are always taking right decisions. There are certain people, even for the smallest of things, they are not able to take a decision. They keep thinking, wondering, kya karo, nahi karo, kya karo. In the meantime, the other person has already decided and done the thing also. So why is that difference? Because maybe that person who is not able to take a decision, उसको बचपन से ही ऐसा ट्रेनिंग मिला है कि somebody is going to guide that person. तो that person doesn't have the idea कि चलो जब decision लेने का time आया, then what am I supposed to do? Should I, he's not confident about taking decisions. And this is that mindset, the training which he has got since childhood, that somebody is going to guide him on how to take a decision. Now, decision making, this we understand is a potent life skill which we have to teach the children. We have to teach. It's not something that anyone is born with. So we can never be certain that a particular decision will give us what we want, but we will know that it will change lives for better or for worse. It's not that everybody is very sure कि हाँ ये decision मैंने लिया तो एकदम सही है. But there are times when we need to take the decision quickly and we have to take the risk. So skillful decision making increases the likelihood that it will be for the better. Equipping the child with decision making skills may be the best gift a child can have. So that is why I keep saying that from childhood we have to train the children to start taking small decisions. Allow children to practice decision making is something they do partly under the guidance of teachers, parents, mentors or guardians. It's not that आपने उनके ऊपर छोड़ दिया कि हाँ जो decision लेना है ले लो. No, you guide them towards it. कि okay, if you do this, if you wear this, then it's the season of winter, and if you're going to wear this dress, it is very thin, you will feel cold. So let them take the decision, but give them the pros and cons, guide them towards that decision. However, teachers and parents they will not be there forever with the child. So that practice must happen. That logical thinking starts, the process of logical thinking starts right from the beginning, when you are going to guide them towards a decision rather than giving them the answers, giving them the right answers. Teach them to ask the right questions and don't give them the right answers. Let them come up with the right answers. Now, just if we go logically, there are some steps in decision making. Let us look at these steps in decision making. Identify your goal. Now, when we talk of the steps of decision making, we are not talking of unimportant decision. Definitely here we are talking about the important decisions. Okay. So one of the most effective decision making strategies is to keep an eye on your goal. What do you want to achieve? That should be the final the statement that okay, before you start taking a decision, what do I want to achieve? What is the end result I want? This simply means identifying the purpose of your decision by asking yourself these questions. What exactly is the problem that needs to be solved, and why does this problem need to be solved? So asking a certain questions, why analysis, as they say, figuring out what's most important to you will help you to make a good decision. When you know the reason why you have to make a particular decision, it will be better. It will better serve you in staying with it and definitely in sticking to your decision or even defending your decision. Then the step 2 would be to gather information. Okay, हमको ये करना है. Supposing if it is buying a house, so you will first think about, okay, what is the goal? I need to buy a house before 2025. Why? Maybe because you're going to retire in 2020. This is just an example. So you need to buy a house before that particular date. Then you start collecting information, gathering information, what all kinds of houses are available, what is your budget, where would you like to stay. So when making good decisions, it is better to gather all the necessary information, and doing this will help you to better understand what needs to be done in solving the problem, and will also help you to generate ideas for a possible solution. And start making a list. Supposing if it is an important decision, you must start making a list of the information that you have received for that, the pros and cons, etc. Then the third is considering the consequences, the pros and cons that we talked about right now. This step can be just as important as step 1 because it will help you determine how your final decision will impact you and also the others who are involved in your life. In this step, you will be asking yourself, what is the likely result of this decision? How will it affect you now and how will it affect your future? This is an essential step because it will allow you to weigh the pros and cons. You will understand, okay, इसमें positives क्या है, इसमें negative. If I take this decision, what are the positives, what are the negatives? It is also important because you want to feel comfortable with all your options and the possible outcomes of whichever one you choose. So definitely before coming to a final decision, you have to see, okay, the negative and the positive side of taking this particular decision. Then the fourth step, of course, is taking the decision, making your decision. Now that you have identified your goal, gathered all the information, weighed the pros and cons, then it is time for you to actually execute your final decision. And understanding that this step can cause some people a lot of anxiety is important because this is where you have to trust your instincts. So there are two things involved. One is going by logic and one is going by emotion. Supposing if it is deciding on taking a house. Now if you decide on taking a house which is very far away from your native place, maybe if your parents are staying with you, they may not like that decision. So there you have to weigh everything. You have to think about the emotion part of it. You have to think of the logic also. Okay, it may be closer to your workplace. So you have to strike a balance. Only going by emotion or only going by logic. Both are not correct. You have to strike a balance between the two. Then finally you have to ask yourself, does it feel right when I have taken this decision? Is this the right thing? Does this decision work best for me and will it work best for me even later on? When all these questions are answered, you will definitely feel that yes, you have taken a right decision. Then evaluate your decision. Once you have taken your decision, you have to evaluate. Always looking for and anticipating unexpected problems will help to reduce undue stress. So before taking that final decision, just think of the negative thing also. अगर मैंने ऐसा decision ले लिया, what are the negative things that could happen? And okay, am I okay with those things happening? I have to take that risk. So these are some of the steps which you can think of while taking very important decisions. Going stepwise, being analytical, writing down the pros and cons, and then coming to a decision. So you can see that life decisions should be taken when you are peaceful and clear-headed, not influenced by anything. It should have enduring value for you and not for anybody else. So when you are taking important life decisions, your mind should be absolutely clear. Never take a decision in anger. Always have a calm mind. If you are angry or if you are upset, don't take important decisions. Just try to calm yourself, be a little cool, and then think about taking those important decisions. And of course, it should be important for you. Whatever you have decided should be correct for you. Not always thinking कि वो क्या सोचेंगे, ये क्या सोचेंगे. What do I feel? Will I feel happy with this decision or not? That is most important. Sometimes it is the smallest. This is a wonderful, you can see poster here. Sometimes it is the smallest decisions that can change your life forever. It happens. That छोटे से छोटे decision ने भी कभी-कभी आपका entire life को बदल दिया है, and that was a deciding factor. So now I would like to just discuss this Edward de Bono's six thinking hat technique for decision making. So he has given a very scientific way of taking a decision, and he calls it Edward de Bono. He calls it the six thinking hat technique. This technique helps to organize your thinking process in a detailed and cohesive manner. He was Edward de Bono. He was the father of this particular technique, which is called the six thinking hats, which he has also written a book in 1985 about it. And he has made the difference on different ways of thinking for a particular solution. That is, you step out of that problem and think from different perspectives, different point of view, as if it is not your decision. You are thinking of it from a different point of view, uh, sometimes from a negative point of view, sometimes from a positive point of view, sometimes from a creative point of view. All these different ways of thinking has been put together by Edward de Bono in this book, which he has written, The Six Thinking Hats. Let's have a look at that. So you can see here, he is given the blue hat, which is thinking about the process of decision, taking the decision. When he wears the white hat, he is thinking about the different information that has to be gathered for taking a decision. Then the red hat is totally about emotions. What are the emotions about taking a decision? What are the instinctive feelings that I get? No, it doesn't feel good. It doesn't feel right. So that is when you're wearing the red hat. Then the green hat is for creativity. You start thinking creatively कि let me think out of the box, और भी इसका कुछ solution निकल सकता है. Yellow hat is thinking the positive side of it, and the black hat is thinking about the negative side, the risk taking or the negative aspects of that particular decision. So from all these angles, from all these perspectives, when you have looked at a particular problem before coming to taking a decision, definitely it is going to be a right decision. So this is Edward de Bono's six thinking hat on decision making. He has spoken about thinking about a problem or any particular issue from different perspectives. So that is when you wear the different six hats and think about those perspectives. So you can see here, this model uses hats to represent the steps we need to follow in order to make good decision. For example, the white hat helps us to look at the facts of the situation, all the information that you have gathered. The red hat helps us to look at the emotional aspect of the problem or the solution. The black hat will help you to look at the negatives of the solution. कि अगर हम ये करेंगे तो ये गलत काम, these are the negative things that will happen. The yellow hat will help us to think about the positive sides of the solution, and the green hat will allow us to come up with potential solutions or maybe different actions which are more creative. You can think of different options. And the blue hat will help us to manage the process of decision making. So this is Edward de Bono's six thinking hat. Now let us put it into an example. For example, consider a scenario where Ankita is considering which job to accept. Definitely this is an important decision which she has to take. Supposing if she is deciding on job A or job B or job C, so she has to give a great thought to it. You can't just take up a job offer, isn't it? You have to think of so many things, thinking about your family, where you stay, how you will travel to the workplace, whether that particular place is suitable for you or not. So many things before taking up a particular job. So if she were using the six hat model, first she would look at the facts, that is the aspects of each job offered, and that is the time when she is wearing the white hat because she is collecting information. Then she would look at how she feels about each job. So that is the red hat, that is her feeling, the emotions. Next she would be looking at the downsides of each hat, that is the black hat. Downside, maybe the workplace is maybe 15 kilometers from where I stay. Every day I will have to travel up and down so much. So that is the negative side. Then she would look at the positive of each job, that is the yellow hat, that I will have a good growth prospect in this particular job, I will be able to do well. So that is the yellow hat. Next she would use the green hat to look at the job offers from a creative way and look at potential of choosing one job over another. Seeing that okay, this is an area which interests me, I will be able to develop myself, my skills. So she is thinking creatively. And finally, the blue hat would cause Ankita to make sure that she used all the hats to make a decision, and based on the data would go ahead and make the best choice. So before taking a decision, Ankita has worn all these 6 hats and then come to a decision. And then definitely when she comes to a decision after seeing from these 6 perspectives, definitely she will be able to take the right decision because she has weighed the options, she has seen the pros and cons, the positive, the negative, and everything, and then finally come to a decision. It was not only based on emotions, neither was her decision based only on logic. She has taken into consideration everything. Now, when we are talking of teenagers, sometimes when teenagers are faced with making a hard decision, they can be overly emotional and therefore make the wrong decision. They don't sometimes think of logic, they only think of emotions. Maybe a friend, maybe about a parent or something, and because of that, they may even take a wrong decision. Maybe a student wants to study a particular subject, but because he is very much, you can say, very obedient, or he just wants to do the right thing, what his parents want him to do. So then he is bringing emotions. He wants to do something else, but his parents want him to do something, so he is doing it just to make his parents happy. So definitely that was not the right decision because throughout his life he is going to be thinking, okay, I should have not done this, I should have done that. So that particular moment he has taken a decision only based on emotion because he wanted to make his parents happy. But he was not happy with that decision. So definitely he is throughout his life he is going to be regretting that. So by developing self-awareness skills and then managing their emotions, students can learn to make healthy and wise decisions. The De Bono decision-making model specifically asks that you look at your own emotions and the emotions of others. This is part of self-awareness and social awareness in emotional intelligence. Now, when we understand how we feel about a certain decision we have to make, we can look realistically at all possible solutions, which allows us also to make better decisions. Definitely, when you are looking at it from different perspectives, you have already weighed all the kind of options, the possible solutions, and then taken a decision. So here this is just a recap of De Bono's 6 thinking hats. You can see here the 6 different frames of minds are identified in the shape of a hat. White is for information, the red is for emotions, that is intuitive reactions or expressions of feeling. Black is the judgment, that is the logic applied, thinking about the mistakes or the barriers and looking for mismatch, the negative side of it, etc. The yellow is looking at the positive side of a particular solution, logic applied to the identification of opportunities and looking for harmony. Whereas the green hat represents creativity, statements of provocation and investigation, cheering what an idea is about. So that is when you're wearing the green hat, you're thinking of more and more different kind of solutions. And blue, of course, is the thinking, the managing of this whole process of decision making. Now, what are the factors? We have talked about how to take a decision, the steps in decision making, Edward De Bono's 6 thinking hats, looking at different perspectives in taking a decision. Now we come to the factors that are that affect decision making, because whenever you take a decision, there are many things which affect. Maybe you are not aware of it. Sometimes we start taking decisions automatically, but we know that there are many things which are helping us to take that decision, because otherwise everybody would be taking the same kind of decision. You may be seeing that in a room, when a question is asked, a choice is given. Everyone has got different choices. So what are the reasons? What are the factors? Some are personal factors, cultural factors. There are social factors. When you are thinking about the society you live in, the background you come from, all those things are very important. It affects your decision making. The information that you have, sometimes you have got lack of information also, and of course the psychological factors. All these factors, they are a part of your decision making, whether it is small decisions, whether it is big decisions. All these factors are affecting your decision making process. Even sometimes the way you dress up, that also is, it comes to you very naturally. When you select a dress, when you go somewhere to buy something, you are selecting a dress. So you are taking into consideration so many factors, and you are not aware of it. Even it's not an important decision what dress you have bought, but it has been, the decision has been impacted by cultural, social, maybe psychological factors also, and also sometimes information regarding the price of the dress, etc. all these things. But of course, the most important is when you are taking major decisions, all these factors, how they impact you, that we need to see. So let's look at some of the factors. We need to understand what are these personal factors. It could be age, gender, stages in the life cycle, whatever is your background, education. All these things will be just I think I just need to stop for 1 minute. If you give me a moment, just yes. If you don't mind, just please stop for 1 minute. I'll just there is some pressing. Yeah. Okay. So these are the personal demographics. You can see that is related to your age, gender, education, etc. Then you have the cultural factors. Cultural, we all understand what cultural background we are coming from, what are the taboos, the language, the education, the upbringing, social behavior. All these things, even the caste, subcaste, all these things have an impact on decision making. Supposing whether it is selecting a job or even the dresses that you wear, the food that you eat. Cultural factors also come into play at that time. Then social factors influence, that is your peer groups, your families, friends. In fact, nowadays the social media that is there, that is also one of the social factors for students, especially, which is an important part of their decision making process. Whatever decisions they are taking, it is also because of this. Sometimes adolescents, they get into bad habits. They start taking maybe they start taking alcohol or drugs or whatever. So that is because of the influence of these social factors. It could be a negative thing, but they have been impacted by all these social factors. Then psychological factors are also there. What is the motivation? It all begins with needs, perception, how you have grown up, what are those psychological factors that are affecting your decisions. All these things are impacting major as well as minor decisions that you take throughout the day. Then of course information. Whatever is the information you have collected, that is also very, very important. And it does impact your decision making. Sometimes we do things without realizing, we take decisions without even realizing that all these things have impacted my decision. So we can see here, I come back to that slide. Factors that affect decision making: personal factors, cultural factors, social factors, the information that you have collected. Now everybody has got a different level of information. Someone may have collected a lot of information, did a lot of Google search, researched on something, talked to so many people, visited so many places. So that person has got a lot of information. So whatever decision he or she is taking is based on that information. There may be another person who does not have so much information, but just has heard from someone, so he or she has to take a decision based on only that much amount of information. So definitely the person who is well informed, his decision or her decision is going to be a more logical one. So all these are all the factors which affect our decision making. Then we come to a small So definitely that would be the right decision. Be thoughtful. Think about For students also, sometimes if they are thinking about going to a college and that the fees of that college is very high, so definitely they have to think about the income of their family. So there are so many things involved in taking a decision. So you have to think, be thoughtful and think about who all will be impacted by this particular decision. So from, as I said, from childhood, train the children or the students, even children at home or students in school, the adolescents especially, to take right decisions and not to be dependent on others for their decision. They should take guidance, they should be able to talk to a lot of people, but the final decision that they take should be their own after weighing all the pros and cons. They should be able to discuss, brainstorm, talk. Just 1 minute, just a minute. I think there is some. Just please get me. Yes, what is it? Yes, I'm so sorry. There was someone at the door. Nobody else was there right now to open. Okay. So this is something which we need to teach the children, train them from the beginning. That you have to listen to people. You have to weigh the pros and cons. You have to see the options. But the ultimate decision is something that you have to take yourself. Okay, lessons. Now here is something which I wanted to share with you all. Lessons on decision making from the Bhagavad Gita. Even the Gita has talked about it, that how you can, what are the things that happen when you take wrong decisions. Feelings are temporary. Never take life decisions based on emotions only. So we have to be logical, we have to see the logic. Avoid taking decisions when in extreme emotion, either too happy or too sad or angry, etc. Ask yourself, am I taking this decision in anger or due to attachment? So this is something really valuable, that when you are angry and you take a decision, definitely you will not take the right decision. And later on you yourself will regret कि अरे मुझे ऐसा decision लेना चाहिए था, मुझे ऐसा करना चाहिए था. Am I focusing only on the result? Change is the law of nature, change is the only constant. So these are the things we are getting from Bhagavad Gita. Whatever is done without faith is worthless. Keep your goals high. What is good for society at large is good for you. And of course, trust in the supreme power. Now we come to this. This is a slide which I'd like to share with all of you. Making good decisions is a method that must be learned. It is not something which we are innately born with. Sometimes we say, we comment कि अरे ये तो हमेशा ही सही काम करते हैं, या ये so and so is always taking right decisions. But it is not something that person is born with. They have learned it, they have observed people, or maybe their adults must have given them the opportunity to take decisions, to take the right decisions. So it is merely a step by step process that is usually ascertained from life experiences. As Mark Twain has put it, good decisions come from experience, and experience comes from making bad decisions. So you can see this is something which I had discussed earlier. Making decisions entirely on feelings without considering logic is wrong. Making decisions entirely with logic without considering feelings is also wrong. But making decisions by putting the heart and mind together, that is the right way to take a decision. So only on logic or only on emotions, that both these ways would be wrong. So if you want to take a right kind of decision, it should be by putting logic as well as emotions both together, that is heart and mind together. By checking our feelings with logic, we can better understand our motivations, qualify our feelings, and learn more about ourselves. While making more intelligent decisions, this is what we need to do. Now I'll just share one story with you. We have a little bit of time here, so I can share this. This is a story written up just for children, because children learn better when you teach them with stories. This is a story called Amy's Goose, which was written by Tasha Tudor. So Amy's Goose, by E.T. Holmes, is a very heart-wrenching story, and it is about a girl and the geese who fly. The geese would fly to her lake every fall and spring season, and she would watch, she would observe these geese. One day one of the goose gets injured, and Amy adopts the wild goose and takes care of the bird. Every day she looks after that bird till the bird is totally fit and fine. When the goose is able to fly, Now, this is the time when Amy has to take a difficult decision. She has taken care of this goose and now she loves the goose so much she doesn't want to let that goose go. So she has to take a decision. Amy is faced with a dilemma. Should she follow her feelings and keep the goose she loves, or do what her head tells her is right and let the goose go with the family and set it free? Taking this story through, when you discuss the story with the children, let them come up with a solution that what is the right thing she should do. Definitely, at that time she should not think of her emotions, she should think what is right for the goose, and she allows the goose to go with uh, the rest of the geese family. So the children learn at this point, yes, when we take decisions like this, we have to also think about the emotions, we have to think about the logic, and then do the right thing. So learning how to take decisions that will impact the rest of our lives is a core part of being human. So through these stories also, you can share with the children different stories, give different situations, and then let them come to the decision that this is right or that is right. Asking them questions every day. ओके, अगर ऐसा करेंगे तो ये होगा, वैसा करेंगे तो हमको क्या करना चाहिए, दिस इज द पॉजिटिव, दिस इज द नेगेटिव, नाउ व्हाट शुड आई डू, व्हाट शुड वी डू, such in this, in a playway method also, with the junior classes, with the little children, if you have these kind of exercises as part of their curriculum when you're teaching something also, especially the teachers of languages, they can do it very nicely, very easily. You put a situation to them and ask them what should we do, if we do this, these are the things that will happen, if we do this, these are the things that are going to happen, so what do we do, what should we do in such a situation, what should we do? And that is the way they are going to learn decision making skills also. So here, this is a poster for you. You can see, don't let your emotions make your decisions, but don't let logic take full control either. So it should be both the things, because you can see emotion pulls you in one way and logic pulls you in another way. So don't let either emotions or decisions take control, but both of them should be guiding you, emotions as well as logic. Many a times, maybe if you must have noticed, you have also faced with this same dilemma, whether I do this or whether this. At that time, think about both the things. Think about the emotional part as well as the logic. What is more likely to be correct? Somebody's mic is unmuted. Please check that. So I think with this, we have almost come towards.
Good afternoon, ma'am. My battery is going to be off, so may I
Okay.
let leave the class?
Yes, sir, you may leave.
Okay. So these are just some manuals I wanted to share, which is available on the website. You can download them also, life skills manuals, which will be useful for the. Now I'll just stop sharing, so that if there is any question you want to ask.
Sir, my battery is going to be off,
Okay, so you can put
so may I
yourself
leave
on
the
mute.
class?
Yes, sir, put your mic on mute, sir.
Pramod sir, you can put yourself on mute. Thank you. Yeah. So with this, I think we have had a lot of discussion on decision making skills. I think if there are any questions, you can unmute yourself. Nagaraju sir, I think we can allow them to unmute if anybody has a question to put up here.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
So
I
anybody
just
wants to ask a question, you can definitely unmute. Or
Ma'am,
if you want to share.
I just want to say few takeaway from this session, ma'am.
Yes. Yes, sir.
So what I got through this session is we must respect the decision of the adolescents. We should take their opinion also whenever it is necessary. At the same time, we have to tell them the consequences, whether the decision will be good or bad, and always we have to take the decision not either by emotion or by totally by logic. We have to keep a mix of both of these, and keeping the consequences in mind, we have to take the correct decision. That was the takeaway from for me from this today's session. And on the behalf of entire participants, I think more than 90 participants were there, ma'am. I convey my special thanks to you for giving your precious time to us, because we are aware that you are very much busy with the COE schedules. Even the principal trainings you are taking continuously. So taking away 1 hour for us is really means, commendable for all of us. So thank you, ma'am. And ma'am, I just want to share a few means incident when we had during the last meeting when Tarun sir was there and having the meeting. So Tarun sir, the head COE Patna, he was asking Namita ma'am that ma'am, please tell कहाँ से लाते हैं इतना energy. I was there, and the reply of ma'am was very much appreciated by Tarun sir. Ma'am said, "It's my passion from where I get this energy." So really, ma'am, your passion is there. We all we all are getting motivated from this, and not only in the field of training. Whenever we need guidance in any part, you are there to help us. We know very well, and we are very much thankful to you for this. And now I ask
Yes, yes.
Tilokma ma'am to please convey your vote of thanks to ma'am. Tilokma ma'am,
Yeah.
over to you.
Just me,
Yeah.
sir. No, no. Before
Thank you,
Tirotma
sir.
madam said something, I'll take the opportunity to say that the session was really, really wonderful.
Thank you,
Yes,
sir.
First time I'm attending the session, and it was a wonderful session. The key takeaways are many, but I did like the mono decision making model and how it can be developed. Factors
yes,
that affect decision making was really lovely, and how to make good decisions through Bhagavad Gita was really wonderful. And it all said about the person, process, product. You highlighted process, yes, definitely, and we are the persons, and final product is the results. So it's very nice session, and I would just like to say what Maita madam said, that it is an acquired skill. So decision making acquired skill, and we teachers as role models must train students to take the right decisions, and it is
yes,
always with intellect that we take. Okay, so head and heart, mind and intellect, they always go together. Thank you, Namrata ma'am. Agree with Nagarjun sir that she's working passionately, and I think we all
yes,
should learn from each other. That's the key
yes,
takeaway. Thank you
yes,
so much. Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, Sharma ma'am. Thank you, Nagaraju sir.
yes, ma'am.
Thank you, sir. Thank you really for giving this platform today, wonderful performance, ma'am. Really, I agree with this that your passion just motivates us also, and we often think that from where do you get this much energy? So, not taking much time, I thank you, Vicky ma'am, also for your time, all the principals and resource person, Melissa ma'am, for this arranging this session, coordinating, and giving us fun, even on this Sunday, busy schedule also. Thank you, each and every participants, the principals who are here and host the school, Vicky ma'am and Anita ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Thank,
And thank you to
thank,
the participants for being so patient on a Sunday, attending the
yes,
training session on a Sunday. Thank you so much.
yes, yes. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you.
Thanks.
Thank you, ma'am.
So I
Okay.
think we can leave the session now.
Yes, yes, ma'am. I
Thank
request participants to leave the session, please.
Thank you, ma'am.
thank you